Hey traders, welcome back. Shane from GMT Futures and FX. Looking forward to taking you through this presentation. I'm going to be looking today at the minimum price move required before we get into a trade. So ideally what we want to do, it doesn't matter what system we're trading, we want to determine what our actual range is, or what kind of a range we're dealing with, how much energy we have in the market and what potential we have for a move, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to get caught trading in choppy type markets. So one of the filters, or one of the inputs we have within our strategy, is what we call our minimum price move. Now, the way this has been established is that we've got our pivots. So on the chart here, you can see our TradeStation chart. I've entered in our pivot high and low. So that's just a basic setting that comes in under the analysis technique. It's one of the show me indicators. You can see there we've got pivot high and pivot low. Now those two have already been applied to my chart, but if you want to do that, you can select those two and go okay, and that'll apply the pivots to the chart. I've already got them on there, as I said. Then if I right click on my chart and go format analysis technique, you'll see that there they are, the pivot high and the pivot low. Now I've actually gone in and set those up. They come as a default of 3 and 3 for the high and the same for the low. So I set that up to a left strength of 10 and a right strength of 10. The reason I've done that is so I can get a fairly big or increase the size of my pivots. I don't want really small pivots. I wanted to have larger pivots. So you can see there that I've been able to do that by increasing the size of the pivot setting. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through how we would determine, or how we build into our strategy an opportunity for us to filter out some of the tighter price movements. So what I've done here is within my strategy, if I go into my strategy, I'll go into the pin bar strategy, you'll see that I actually have, and if I scroll down, you'll see I have a minimum price move filter. So that what that allows me to do is I can turn the filter on by selecting one turns it on, 0 has it off. I can pick the price move in ticks that I need to see for this trade or this system to work. So whether it's a shave bar entry, a trend trader entry, or it could be a pin bar entry, it doesn't matter. I have to have a minimum price move before my system will take a trade. And I've got my left strength, right strength there as my settings. But you'll see here, if we go back out of this for a second, you'll see that I've got a minimum price move here between my pivot high and my pivot low. So I'm selecting what my pivot high and pivot low are, and what I'm doing is I'm typing into my strategy how many points I need, and what I've said here is I said I'm going to require a minimum price move of 30 points before I take a trade. So basically what I want to see is I want to see price move. If I'm taking a short trade, a short entry, then I'm going to want to see price move up here from this pivot low to the pivot high, and it needs to move a distance of at least 30 points. Well, it does. It moves 34. So what happens effectively then is once that pivot prints, then I have a green light to take a trade. So I'm effectively able to take the trade. Now, one of the things that you've got to be a little bit careful of is that with your pivots, you don't want your right strength pivot to be too high as a setting. I probably wouldn't have it any more than 10, because you're going to find that it's going to delay you getting into trade. So keep your right strength pivot a little bit lower, obviously, so that's going to allow you to get into the trades a lot quicker. But your general pivot high and pivot low settings, you want to make those reasonably high. Don't have them at 3, because 3 obviously is a too small a pivot, whereas around, say, between 7 and 10, you're going to open up the pivots a bit more and give yourself a bit more room, particularly with the minimum price move. So you can see there that once we get that pivot established, we're able to take the trade, and we're away on the trade setting. So you just want to keep that right strength pivot slightly smaller than your left strength, and that's going to allow you to get into the trades a lot quicker, and the setups are going to be more effective. But that's basically our minimum price move. We're wanting to see a minimum value before we take a trade, just to keep us out of these choppier trades. If we don't do that, then we're liable to potentially get caught in trading choppier market conditions. So that's a good way of kind of establishing a minimum price move before we take a trade, and that works very effectively in a lot of the systems that we're trading. So that's just a quick recap of our minimum price move. Hope that helps, and look forward to catching you on the next update. Cheers.